We are missing Trickster tonight because he had a major life event, but he should be back with us on our next session the first week of August. Is everyone ready? All right.
I am ready.
When last we left our intrepid adventurers, you were on the ice shelf working your way along the route that the dwarf had taken to discover wherever the pearl is from. You had also slaughtered a very cranky and not very intelligent polar bear. So, you are done cleaning up and resting after dealing with a very cranky and now very deceased polar bear.
Well, I suppose we should continue moving in the direction that you had pointed us in. Talking to the dwarf.
Orin nods. Yes. But we have to watch for more polar bears.
The last one wasn't so bad. It was half blind.
What do you do if they're not?
We pray.
He just sort of gives you one of those looks that says, uh-huh. So you are making your way slowly along the ice. If you look at the map, you are roughly here.
All right.
You can see a bit of an ice cliff.
Well, um,
Off this
maybe we should.
direction.
Oh, all right. Maybe we should get to the ice cliff so we can get a better vantage point.
So you're starting off like here.
The map for me is currently black. I can't see anything.
Zoom out a bit. There's a revealed area.
Ah, there we go.
You're starting about here.
All right.
You can see that blue line here. That is the ice cliff. It's also starting to snow.
I see.
Not a heavy no, just sort of a slight, light, fluffy one. Big fat flakes.
All right. Well, it's beginning to snow. We should probably speed up a bit and be active just so we don't lose any body heat.
Orin's more than happy to get the sled dogs moving. However, they are definitely not careening at a rapid pace because he doesn't want to run into anything unexpected like a wall. The cliffs, if you look at them, they sort of go up and then come out before they have a lip. So definitely not something any of you are going to be climbing anytime soon.
Yes. Looks like we're taking the long way around as always.
That would be off in this direction. You could probably see where I'm clicking on the map.
We did pick up climbing gear.
Yes, you did. But you're not going to want to try and climb upside down on a ice cliff.
I have done a front flip onto a shark, so maybe not.
Now, once you reach, and it's taking you a little while because the snow is uneven, but once you reach about here, Oren, who is looking at that journal, says, "We're going to make a hard right up ahead, even if it doesn't look much like it."
Alright, I presume we should hold on then.
As you can see, once you round the next bit of curve, the cliffs definitely open out to the right.
Alright, well, you said hard right, so let's just hold on as much as we can so we don't fall out.
There you go, there are your tokens. You can see that this, I guess you'd say, creek or crevice into the ice wraps around.
And that definitely goes in the direction that
Now,
we detecting the magic from, so that's great.
if you look at the yellow square, you see the yellow square on the map?
Yes.
The yellow square actually depicts or shows you what the bottom half of the map is. That's the area that this bottom half of the map covers.
Alright.
That's why the map is divided roughly in half. This blue line here is the top edge of the ice cliff. This dark blue line. This purple shape is an opening into the ice. It is about halfway up the cliff wall. This light blue tracery here is a path that clearly goes not only all the way up to the top of the ice cliffs, thus giving access, but quite clearly goes into whatever that large aperture is.
Well, that's great.
This opening is about halfway up the cliff. It's rather irregular, although it looks as though somebody has taken some trouble to get into it. In the area in front of it, on the floor, so to speak, of the area, in this area here, there's wreckage.
Oh.
You'll have to go closer to inspect it.
All right then. Well, just stay close together and make sure none of us can fall off. Seems like a more tight piece of ice.
Now, that green circle I just drew is roughly the area
Yes.
the wreckage is in. It's kind of scattered
Alright.
out. Like, obviously, it's been there for a while. Scavengers, what scavengers are up here in the frozen areas, clearly have gotten to it.
There still may be some things in there. I say we should.
Orin
Just
says,
stay close together.
we definitely should. Because this
All right.
describes some sort of cave. He taps the book he's holding, which is that journal, and then points at this and says, and if I'm not mistaken, that's a cave.
Oh. Well,
It's
then
in
it's decided.
ice,
Let's move.
but it's a cave. But we want to know what happened to whoever those were, or whatever those were, first.
Expect giant monsters. Got it.
So, you have the debris field, which is this, and you have the cave entrance, which is this. Orin, clearly and logically, believes that you should check out what's in the debris field before you go in the cave. Somewhere ahead, and actually down, there is a large concentration of that same magical feel as that sphere had at the university. A large concentration of it. Like I said, just like the sphere at the university. Frost, ice. And there's a shit ton of it. All right. Give me a search check. All right. Say anybody who examines the wreckage will want to give me a search check.
Alright, let me roll one of those real quick.
Let me know what you've got once you've got it rolled.
I got a 17.
Excellent. Okay. Well, the first thing that you both discover is, of course, that there are bones.
Well, that's definitely reassuring.
It looks like somebody had at least one full team of sled dogs.
Oh,
The
oh.
bones, they're not complete sets of bones either, but the bones have sled dog harnesses mixed in with some of them.
I'm sad now.
Looking at the wreckage, there were at least 3 dog sleds.
That's a lot of dogs.
Orin says, he said he started with an expedition of 7 sleds. When
So
he
something
left, there
happened
were
along the
only
way.
3. He didn't detail what exactly happened to the other 4, just that they were down to 3 when they left.
Definitely reassuring.
Now, you can do a knowledge nature check, certainly. All right. You can tell that at least some of the dogs were nailed by a polar bear, which, polar bears are opportunistic hunters. You find a group of sled dogs chained down so that since their drivers are parked somewhere, they're going to take advantage of it and eat your dogs. Especially since sled dogs are normally tethered far enough apart they can't get to each other for dog fighting either. One dog versus a polar bear, crunch, crunch, munch, munch. Especially if the dog's chained down on a short line. Looking at the placement of where the dogs are, they were on a chain tether, far enough apart they couldn't reach each other. And obviously, if they couldn't reach each other, they couldn't help each other fight something off either.
Hmm.
So,
Most likely.
now, there are supplies scattered around. There's the wreckage of at least one tent that had been set up. For more information on what was in the tent or what's in the boxes, you'll need to do another search check. But it looks like a polar bear got the dogs.
I'll do a search check for the tents
All right.
as well. I have rolled a 10.
Well, you find in the tents that there's a rather trashed cot, and oh my goodness. That cot was once occupied, given all the blood splashed all over its shredded state.
there's a lot of blood here. Is it fresh?
No, it's long frozen.
All right. Well, there's a lot of frozen blood on this cot and all over the walls, so that's great.
Now, in the boxes, you find a good bit of survival gear. There's a bunch of provisions, kept obviously in good shape by the cold. There's some ropes, some climbing gear, some spelunking gear.
Why would you go spelunking here?
Cave.
Oh, yes. Wrong word. I was thinking of something else.
So clearly, they were planning to explore this cave.
And got cut off pretty short by the looks of it.
Well, these are just what's still here. They did say they arrived with 7 dog sleds and left with 3.
So, how did they know that they would have to go underground?
Well, it's not exactly like you can ask them.
Not their skulls.
There are no skulls there at all. Even the dog skeletons, which some of them haven't been totally picked totally clean, but even them, none of the heads are there.
Well, something's collecting heads. That's great.
As
Has
I
to be
mentioned,
more than-
none of the skeletons there are complete. There's a number of
Yes,
them missing various ribs and longer bones.
This has to be the work of something more than just animal. Animals don't hunt for sport.
Well, it's fairly evident that
More intelligent.
it is fairly evident that whoever was in that tent didn't survive, just given the amount of blood in the wreckage there. Give me a. Shet, do you have knowledge nature?
Yes.
Give me a nature check real quick. Okay. You notice a spot over here where somebody melted some of the ice and then refroze it.
Well, that is certainly interesting. It seems the ice here apparently has been generally recently melted and frozen again. Could you perhaps use your magic to melt it?
Of course. I will go over and crouch down and place my hand on the ice to cast a fire rune. 'Cause
Alright.
firing at a range would mean I'd have to roll and I may miss. So touching it is most likely guaranteed since it's not moving.
I'm going to cast resistance on you.
Alright. I am using a fire rune on the piece of ice.
Yep.
No,
I've-
it's the zeroth one spell.
He's protecting you from the fire. Is what he's doing.
Okay.
So you don't scorch yourself, since he saw them act as landmines last time.
It's just a +1 on your resistance bonus to saves. +1 bonus on saves.
Yes, which is always
Thank you.
nice. Now, once you melt about 2 feet down through the solid ice, you discover what was clearly some members of an expedition. Their bodies are. One of them looks to have been mauled by a bear.
Oh,
You know.
Yes.
The other two bodies that are there have wounds like they were either struck by spears or javelins or something similar. Since they've been frozen, they are clearly preserved. And the scavengers did not eat these corpses.
I am going to get the dwarf over here for further analysis.
Orin, you mean?
Yes.
He looks rather green, but he says, "It looks like that might have been the expedition that our dwarf who found the pearl came with."
Oh. Well, we know what happened to them.
Some of them.
Yes.
Remember, he was murdered before he got all the way home.
I swear to God, if we're fighting werebears.
It wouldn't be. Look at the wound. There's some piercing marks that don't come from claw mark. Something I suspect is like a spear. So certainly I'm dealing with intelligent beings.
Orin nods. Yes, clearly someone didn't like these guys.
Yes.
Alright. You, in one of their accoutrements, you find a very small arrow, which clearly they managed to catch in their cape so that it didn't sink into their hide, but that is rather crudely made. It's got a bone arrowhead.
I
And-
may be dealing with some kind of tribalistic people.
What flutters?
The fletchings look to be snow grouse, maybe. You're not sure exactly, but they're white feathers. Could be seagull too.
I feel like whatever we're facing takes the bones of its enemies and makes them into weapons.
Perhaps.
Bone arrowhead does not bode well.
Not like they have wood here, maybe there's some knives.
One of the dwarves has a ring. It looks very, very old. It is frozen onto his finger. So to get it off,
Fire magic?
you're either going to have to melt the ice or chop his finger off and then still pry it off.
I pull out a knife and just break the finger off.
All right. And I presume you pry it off the broken finger since it's easier that way.
Yeah.
It tingles in your palm.
Like magic.
Yes.
I don't believe that this is magical.
Well, that's great. Maybe put it on to see what magical property it has?
Alright.
Or,
I found the ring.
all right. Orin makes a comment. Clearly, it wasn't very good magic. It didn't help somebody else stay alive.
Well, I can understand that, but it's still a magical item. Those are rare, aren't they?
Very. Nobody knows
Then we
quite
should
how to
at least
make them
collect it for
anymore.
study.
Nobody really knows exactly how they're made that way anymore. It's a
Yeah.
lost art.
What did it feel like when I found the ring?
The first thing you notice is that it is definitely magical because it makes your whole hand tingle. Almost like the magic is tasting you, getting to know you. You're not sure
You
exactly.
don't let the magical man taste you.
Does the healing spread up on the arm?
Not rapidly, it's slowly.
Friend, what are you feeling? You're being a little silent.
It's odd. The magic is. At first, it was just it's rapidly spread to the not to the arm. That was odd. But now it's slowly spreading to the rest of my body. It's odd.
Well, in the name of science, I think you should keep it on and see what happens when the tingling sensation goes to the rest of your body. Fully.
Alright.
After a few
In the mean,
minutes, just letting it wait, seems to have, I guess you would say, gotten to know you, and it stops tingling, and you feel pretty chill about it. Now, you still have the finger bone, correct?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the finger bone, while you're wearing this ring, do you?
Not right now.
Okay. Well, then I won't tell you what it does when you do. You have to do that before you can tell.
say, um,
It means thought. This is quite interesting.
and it's basically doing nothing now.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we notice.
Okay. Um, say, how many other magical items have we found on our journey? Feels like I've forgotten.
In my knowledge, this is the only magical item we have come into contact with.
There's the finger bone in this ring.
Out of okay, out of character, I am lying to the party
Ah,
because I haven't told them about my bone.
fair.
Okay then. Well, I feel like we're going to find a lot more.
Ugh.
Now, you can salvage anything you want out of the wreckage. If you want, you could poke around more with the bodies. That's up to you. Clearly, somebody else took their gold pieces because their purses are all empty. Well, one still has a little wooden coin in it that says not valid currency on one side, but the other side has a small carving of a teddy bear on it.
That's an odd coin.
Well, it's made of wood.
Very odd coin. Wood token thing.
Pick it up. Is it magical?
Nope.
Well, it doesn't feel magical.
I see.
It does, however, feel like somebody's rubbed their thumb over it a lot.
Probably had a lot of sentimental value.
Feel like that would mean splinters. I don't think you should rub the coin.
It's smooth.
What? That's weird. Why is the wood smooth?
If you rub something a lot, it's like sanding it. You can sand wood perfectly
Oil on
smooth.
our fingers.
Mm-hmm.
It's just somebody picks up this really rough wooden coin at the beginning of it and they're like, you know what? I think I really want to rub this thing a lot. And that's how it began.
Personally, would take the spelunking gear and fill up our fragrance.
That
Or-
would be nice.
All right. Is have something other than dried and frozen calamari.
Could we perhaps go further down?
Orin says, "Well, we'll have to go up a bit," pointing up the trail, "to go down. I think the dogs could navigate the pathway, but I'm not sure we could actually get the sleds up there."
Then perhaps we should carry our stuff on foot.
We can put the dogs in their packs. They are trained to also carry a pack of supplies. It's not as big as what each of us could carry, but that's why there's more of them.
Sounds good to me.
It will take a bit to get things reorganized that way, though. So we might want to make camp here before we go in there. He points into the cave. Because
Think
caves
that
can
thing-
have collapses and things. And out here, it's just going to snow on us.
Well, I do believe that this place is a safe enough place for camp, just for now. If anything was to come back, I think we could handle it.
How long will your runes persist?
For as long as I can concentrate on them, unless they're triggered. At the moment, at least. From the draconic book I've been reading the entire time to even learn the runes, it says I can advance further, but I haven't really made any progress yet.
Now, as a quick out of character note, did you all level up to level 2?
I did.
Okay. Because I did make a note after last session to level up to level 2. So. Alright.
In
So,
reality, I haven't really tried to use any enhanced runes, but I could try as we rest here.
I was going to suggest that you could use it as a trap in case anyone were to sneak up on us.
Yes, I am able to do that. I'm just going to have to focus on it every now and then, else it'll disappear.
I assume it would also be gone while you were asleep.
Yes.
Orin says, "The dogs will bark if something approaches."
That works, I think.
If they spot something, they'll bark.
Perhaps better than considering.
And they don't disappear when you go to sleep.
Yes, that is a lot better. I am going to practice with my runes for a little while as we rest. See if I can make any advancements at this time.
Alright. As I said, it takes Orin and the other driver a bit of time to actually get everything repacked into packs to put on the dogs. Partially because sled dogs are very high energy animals, they're bouncy. So keeping them behaving is a bit of a challenge, but they do get it done. So Orin suggests if we don't want to take everything, we can leave it here on the sleds, but we might want to chain the sleds down.
We could leave the stuff in the pool.
We could. It's more of a grave, I think. This here where the other dwarves from the original expedition is pretty much a grave.
Mm-hmm.
It's not exactly easy to dig graves in the frozen Arctic North. So, but Orin and the other driver get the dogs all ready, giving you all plenty of time to discuss things. Now,
While while we're resting, I'm gonna be just looking at the ring.
all right.
Um,
If you look at it very closely, it is relatively wide band. Looks to be of probably bronze or something like that. Anyway, it's sort of a bronzy color, and between the two raised edges of the band, it looks like there are a number of different objects depicted. It is extremely detailed and beautifully done craftsmanship. If you're looking at the designs very closely, it looks like one might be some kind of staff, one might be some kind of wand, another one looks to be a sword of some sort, a shield, and it looks like there's some sort of bottle also depicted.
looking the use of sense element. Is there a specific kind of magic on it?
In the sense of standard elements, no, but you can sense it's got a type of divination on it. Now, since you're playing with it while everybody else is not paying attention, do you look at the finger bone?
Yes.
To your eyes, it appears to be softly glowing a light blue.
Okay. I put the finger bone back.
That is only to your eyes.
Well, history to see if I can learn anything about the ring itself, or if I know if I have any history of it.
You could also roll for knowledge arcana. After having closely inspected those designs, you realize what this is. This is a ring of magic detection. If an object is magical and you look at it while wearing this ring, you will be able to tell if the object is magical or not.
I'm going to walk up to Oren and Oren, I, from the inscriptions on the ring, I do believe that it might have something to do with some sort of detection of magic. Perhaps detecting magic itself. I do not know.
Orin
Is
blinks and says, "A magic ring that detects other magic? Those are rare.
perhaps
I know that they used to be a very popular thing a long, long, long time ago, but they've gotten rare because it's things like rings and things that have magic built in aren't made anymore." Did it change to fit your finger or anything like that? Which
didn't.
it did actually adjust its size to fit your finger perfectly when you put it on. It had been a little bit big because the dwarf's fingers were kind of thick and stubby. So when you put it on your finger, it adjusted to fit you perfectly.
Is it glowing when I look at it?
While you're wearing it,
Yeah.
yes.
It did change size slightly. It's also slightly glowing. Do you see the glow of it?
Orin shakes his head no. Just looks like a brass or bronze ring to me.
It does seem to be a ring that detects magic.
That might be very useful.
Is it just magic items, or is it persistent magical effects? I remember.
Orin
currently under the
admits, I
effects.
don't know.
I'm currently under the effects of the Endure Opponents spell,
Mm-hmm.
which is 24-hour, has a
Mm-hmm.
24-hour duration. Could I be slightly glowing?
Since you have a spell on you, yes.
Ooh, it it does seem to also detect spell effects. I am currently under the affected spell, and I am slightly glowing. This would be quite useful.
Orin says, especially if this dwarf was seeking ancient treasures. Ancient treasures can have magic stuff in them, like that ring.
Echo manifests his mind blade. What about now?
Since it's not magical, it does not glow to shit.
It does not.
It's
Psionic
psionic.
does not count.
That is not magic. Apparently. Um, so, Oren, would I be asked to forfeit the ring to
and says, "We have some. They're usually kept locked up. So if you really wanted to keep that, you could. It would, I suppose, technically be proper battle spoils since it came out of a grave." It's not obviously part of something that originated the pearl, so that shouldn't be an issue.
No, it does not have any specific elemental magic.
So if it's not directly related to the pearl, I don't see why you couldn't keep it. We're concerned about the pearl and its origins. Anything you'll find on someone else who's dead on the trail, that's up to you. He gestures at the bodies in the hole, which obviously, you know, they're definitely not the source of the pearl. They might have found the source of the pearl or been with the person who did, but they obviously are not the source of the pearl.
We cannot ask.
Not unless someone knows how to talk to the dead.
I do not know that spell.
Now,
But if you, dear friend, gave me, and I'm gonna keep it quiet
alright.
while carving the beak and trying octopus or squid.
You're working on turning that beak into a helmet.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
Sea Pope.
Now, I want everyone to roll a spot check.
Oh, natural 20.
Okay, so shit got a natural 20. What did you get, Sexy?
Just a second. Not done yet.
Okay.
Oof.
He mean doesn't notice anything.
I'm just reading my book over here. What do you mean?
You are so enraptured in that book. You tuned out the discussion. Michelle tuned out the discussion, or actually, you were so focused on the discussion you tuned everything else out. Shet, you hear the sound of pebbles grinding faintly. It's a very faint sound, but you catch it, which means something's moving around.
I'm assuming we move into this shallow area.
Yeah, you're since you were checking out the grave, you were over here.
Okay. Is it coming from up or from here?
This direction.
Oh. And what does it smell like?
What does it smell like? That would
Yeah,
be
what do you
a.
smell?
It's not a smell you're familiar with, but you've smelled something similar to it before.
What is it similar to?
You recall your battle in the forest when you found out that something had been watching you. Whatever that something was, smells very similar.
Something's coming from up the trail. Smells like the thing that was watching us in the forest.
Interesting.
Look at
Let's
the
chase it.
crossbow.
Now,
Mm,
none of you have actually climbed up any ways toward the cave opening yet. But if you.
the laughing tongue wouldn't help me with this.
Well, if you look at the beginning of the trail here, it is a switchback trail up the cliff face. And it is clearly. I mean, one person can easily navigate it. A dog sled wouldn't be able to handle the curves, but a person or a dog can easily. And it is a clearly well used trail.
Anything? Do I see anything that could be smoothen?
Not from the angle you're at.
I'm just gonna be watching with my crossbow.
Alright. As a note, the ice cliffs here are probably another 1,000 feet tall.
Mm,
So it's going to be a ways up to the ice cave.
and falling could mean instant death.
Yeah. Falling would be a very, very bad idea. And it's a switchback trail, so you know there's not a whole lot of room.
Oren, we might be having company. There's movement, possibly from the cave.
Orin frowns. Well, we're at the bottom, so unless they trigger an avalanche on us, I don't think they can get to us in a hurry without going splat. There's not a lot of hiding spots, it looks like, up the cliff. Which, that is true. There are not a lot of hiding spots on that trail. There's also not much shelter from the weather, and it's starting to snow a little heavier. Which, of
Maybe the
course,
most advantageous position would be down
Oh.
here then.
which the falling snow is making it harder to see much of anything.
And also returning the smells. Possibly might I'm just gonna keep watch.
Alright.
Keep my crossbow out.
Orin suggests we could camp down here until it quits snowing and then go up the trail so that we're not trying to do it with a snowstorm.
Well, I do not know much about some snow, so I suppose we should just wait.
Ice cliffs aren't fun, Orin admits. It gets kinda hairy, but it looks, he indicates the bottom of the trail, like someone tracks back and forth pretty regular. Because that's a
That
path.
must mean that somebody lives nearby, correct?
Good chance of it, Orin says. It's not like having a big old cave in the ice would be a bad thing for a den for something.
I see.
Regularly
Well,
traveled trail. With all of the evidence we've accumulated so far, the bone-tipped arrow and the people getting stabbed with spears and such, I think whatever lies up that trail is the cause of all of it. Well, there's a good chance, at least.
it's definitely something we should watch out for.
Yes. Should we rest here a little bit more, or should we maybe go up the trail?
Oren says, it's not like there's any good camping spots on this trail. We'll be single
Alright.
file
That is very bad. Okay, let's not go up there unless we have to, then.
until we're ready to explore the cave.
Yes.
I don't think I want to try it in snow.
Then it is. Then we rest here for a little longer, then.
You know,
Wait till the snow dies down.
it'll probably clear up in the morning. We'll just want to stay alert tonight. The dogs are going to be, since you've got two teams of sled dogs, that's like 14 dogs. The dogs are going to be around the camp perimeter. He indicates a circle around the tents, the two tents, because it's too cold to sleep alone. It doesn't matter who you are, it's too cold to sleep alone. That way, if anything approaches, we can get a little warning.
Um, can I see the clouds?
The sky is kind of dark with storm clouds. The kind that says you're not sure if it's going to drop a little bit on you or if it's going to drop like 2 feet of snow on you in less than an hour. Kind of dark, foreboding storm clouds.
I'm gonna be watching both the clouds and the trail, if that's possible.
Okay. Well, the clouds, all you got to do is look up. The trail, even though it's not that far from you, the snow at this point is actually falling thickly enough you can't see much more than about 100 feet. Just because of how much snow is coming down. Mind you, you are in the Arctic, so snowstorms are a common thing. Mother Nature likes to drop lots of snow in her Arctic garden.
This is the most horrible garden I've ever seen. Not even anything growing here other than ice.
Are you sure?
I swear to God.
Which one?
If, oh no. I don't want to get into this talk, it scares me. There's too many deities and they're all too powerful.
I suppose we wait until something interesting happens.
Alright. So you all
And now we play the waiting game.
settle down to get some rest. And let me look at something here. All right. Shit. How deeply do you sleep? Roll me a d20.
Well,
Okay.
so Nezumi do have a heightened sense of smell.
That's why you're getting a spot check.
Hmm.
Something wakes you up. Now roll your spot check.
I'm gonna have a lot of broken points on this.
There's something approaching the camp in the snow, and the dogs haven't caught it yet. You can smell it. It smells like whatever was watching you in the forests, too. You can either raise the alarm and rouse everybody else, or wait and see what happens. But it's. Your nose tells you it's a pretty thick scent because it's still snowing and it's strong enough to have pulled you out of your sleep.
Oh, Nezumi also have low light vision. What can I see?
Do you step out of the tent?
Who am I sleeping with?
You have the other Nezumi, Michelle, and Himin in your tent.
I'm gonna wake up Himin.
All right.
Okay.
Pedro,
Yes, hello. I am awake now. Why am I awake?
there is something out there. It smells like what I've smelled before.
Oh,
Perhaps we should take a look
yes. I will help you in this. Where is the smell coming from?
outside.
Do you wake up Michelle also?
Slower.
So he is with you in the tent. You could leave Albin sleeping.
I think it's going to be fine. But first, I'm going to cast magic weapon on my crossbow.
All right. So you are or are not waking up Michelle.
I'm not.
Okay.
Snore.
I wanna slightly open the tent to take a look outside.
All right. It is snowing. Big time.
As an actual problem.
Well, it's definitely limiting your range of sight.
How far?
You could probably see about 50 feet in the snow.
What does it smell like?
That scent from the forest, which is kind of, you would almost say reptilianish.
Yes, this is a problem. I'm going to go back to Michelle. I'm going to wake him up. Wake, wake up. We have this problem.
Grabs and straps on his shield. What's the problem?
And it seems the entity that may have been watching us beforehand is returned. Smells strongly reptilian, like the entity that we believe was a kobold.
Only one?
It is a strong scent, possibly one foul smelling entity. And it also is smelling quite warm. So
Alright, Mikael's gonna strap on his armor and shield.
All right. You hear one of the dogs growl. And then you all hear a dog yip.
Yep, I am going outside.
Yep, rushing out of the tent.
And I have my phone closed already.
The
I will
dog
follow outside.
the dog is looking roughly toward the cliff. Its ears are flat, its teeth are bared. A couple of the other dogs have stood up. They can't reach each other, but their ears are flat and their teeth are bared, but only the one is growling, and you see it's bleeding from a wound on its hip. The dog is quite clearly not happy. It is still growling like it really wants to rip something's head off.
I'm going to slowly approach the dog.
It looks back at you and wags its tail very slightly, but then turns back to whatever it was glaring at that you can't see through the snow and growls again.
Alright, I'm gonna go behind the dog.
Mm-hmm. Well, you would be approaching it from the rear, from its rear anyway.
Do I see anything?
You can't see anything yet, but that musky scent, that kind of musky reptile-y scent, is getting a lot stronger.
Okay, Mikel's gonna approach stealthily. So let me give you. Do you want move silently or is this for visual or auditory?
I think the snow would do a good job of hiding me visually.
The snow's hiding everything that's very far visually. You would want to try move silently. Now, before you actually move, the wind sort of, you know how with storms, wind can be unpredictable. There's a swirl of the wind, and the snow parts for just a moment, giving you all a good look at the fact that there's probably 5 little somethings wearing white fur stuff. You can't see a lot of details, but they appear to be armed with short spears. I mean, they're no bigger than 2.5 feet tall. Whatever the heck they are. But they are armed. The closest one is probably 10 feet away. But since it's in white fur, it kind of blends into the snow. And the tip of its spear is bloody.
Yep, I want to lock my crossbow at the one with the bloody spear and fire.
Alright.
Yep, natural one.
Okay. You go to shoot at it and you manage to drop your crossbow on your foot. You don't break anything, crossbow or foot, but it fires the quarrel, and it goes up into the sky, and you presume somewhere off to the right because you don't know where it goes, but it definitely doesn't hit your target. However, you can easily snatch it back up for next round.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick it up, and there's no magic?
Not on them.
Okay. Pick it up and use my reload action, or my movement action to reload. Did use my reload.
Alright. Michelle?
Alright, my move.
Mm-hmm. Since you guys are attacking this round, I'm letting you all move first, and then we'll roll initiative.
Okay. Oh. Michelle is going to manifest his Mind Blade as a move action, and he is go as a standard action. He is going to manifest defensive precognition, which gives him a +2 to AC for the next minute. So the blade comes out, and then his eyes sort of glow in like the same color
All right.
as the Mind Blade, which is an emerald.
All right.
And yeah, that's his whole turn.
Okay.
Just getting ready for combat.
He is simply looking through his book as best he can and preparing something new.
All right. Well, in that case, it is time for initiative.
Not a bad roll.
All right. That is 16 for you, Hemin.
Yep.
All right. And Chet and Michelle. Initiatives?
So I'm trying to get this thing to work.
Okay. All right. You guys can see the turn order. I'm sure you're amused by the title. Fur clad critters. Whatever they are.
It's not letting me. Hold on, now I have to manually put it in.
Well, I could roll it for you.
It won't let me, but it keeps saying my
Token
token
not
doesn't work.
selected. If you'd rather do it, it can be done manually. That's fine.
+3.
All right. There you go. You got a 21.
No, I got it.
Oh, did you?
I got an 18. Yeah,
Ah.
I'm right above.
Okay. I
That's why I said +3.
all right. So you there you go. All right. Well, Himin and Michelle go first.
We're tied.
You go first, then Himin, then the fur-clad critters, then Shet.
Alright, how far are these things?
Figure each of
I
these.
can't, yeah,
Can't see the map.
we can't tell. We can see the map, but there's no way of knowing who is who.
Right.
There's no pictures. I've
Right.
just uploaded a picture, but it's not on the thing that's on there now.
Okay. That's fine. They're about.
Then
The closest one is about 10 feet from the dogs, which you guys have moved up right behind the dogs. The other four of them are about 10 feet further back. So one of them came close enough to stab the dog.
Okay.
They are little, like I said, about 2.5 feet tall.
So this guy over here.
Mm-hmm. That's Shet. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's not a kobold.
That's Shet.
Well, I don't see anything else.
I don't have any pictures put up for them.
Okay. All right. So, well, how far am I from them?
You're about 10 feet from the closest one.
Okay, then I am gonna move up to that one, wherever that one happens to be, because I can't get to it on the map. And I'm gonna give it the good old-fashioned stabby stab
All right.
with the power of my brain.
All right. You are aiming to hit armor class of 15.
That is a miss.
Yes, it is.
If only I had manifested offensive precognition.
All right. Himin?
You said the other four kobolds are grouped up about a little ways away from the one closer to us?
Yeah, they're 10 feet further back than the one closest to you that stabbed the dog.
Well, I am going to center a rune, a combined rune for the first time, that mixes the runes of fire and storm, and it is a 5-foot square, so 333. Yes. You understand, right?
A 9 square square.
Yes, that. And I'm going to focus it on however many I can get inside the square.
All right. You can either do the group of 4 or the 1.
I'm going to do the group of 4 if I can fit at least 2 or 3 in.
Yeah, they're pretty close together.
Okay, I will do that then, and I will go ahead and see if I hit.
All right. Roll to hit.
Does a 19 hit?
It hits a 15 armor class.
Alright.
Now roll your
Well,
damage.
I'll do my damage then. As the rune appears underneath the 4 of them, a rain of fire appears above them and then rains down.
All right. And damage?
That's 8 damage to each of them.
Alright. They are now non-moving piles of furry whatever.
Oh.
And the stench of burning hair fills the area.
Well, combining runes is very nice.
There is still
That is
one
my turn.
alive, however.
Yeah, perhaps we should take this one alive and ask it some questions.
Now, the remaining live
I
one.
would agree.
Okay. Well, the one remaining one takes a good look at you guys and takes off at a dead run. The other way. Past the flaming piles that were its compatriots. The snow is thick enough, if you don't stay pretty close chasing it, it will disappear into the snow.
How heavy does it?
It can't be more than about 50 pounds tops. It's only 2.5 feet tall.
So if I were to apply 5 pounds of pressure pulling on its leg, would it trip?
Yeah.
I manifest our hand.
Alright.
So this is the first time he does this. Wait, is it my turn? I'm sorry, I may have jumped the gun here. Or are we out of combat?
Shet goes before you do.
I'm going to take a cold shot to one of its legs, if I'm able to.
Alright, I believe that is at a 4.
-2.
Yeah, what's the minus for that, dear?
He takes a -2 to his attack roll.
Okay, so roll to hit. Alright, with a -2, that would be a 16, which would still hit. Now, if it actually does 9 damage,
The cold shots will like be useful. Well, instantly.
it could. Well, I wouldn't say exactly instantly, but there is the femoral artery. So, perhaps maybe you should say called shot to the knee? Because it's a lot harder hitting an artery in your knee.
The mechanical speaking would be the exact same, so if you would allow it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The knee instead.
And you are aiming to cripple specifically, correct? Alright. So,
Now, since it's not critical, it's being reduced by 10. For 1d4 rounds. Cannot be reduced below 5 feet. And any ongoing checks involving that, any involving movement in that leg is at -2 penalty for 1d4 rounds. So that's 2d4s. So -10 speed for 3 rounds and -2 penalty for 4 rounds.
alright.
And I'm gonna move up to the whatever it is.
Now, Himin, you need to roll a knowledge check.
Balance.
Like I said, knowledge check.
Oh, knowledge check. What kind?
I suppose you would say history/draconic lore.
I know that. I shall roll.
Does it work?
Jesus.
Okay. You understand exactly what it says when it yips, "They caught us!" The rest of you do not. Because you don't speak Draconic.
Guys, I think we need to go.
Why?
It
To the
just
rest
said
of you, it sounded like something went.
it just said that we caught it. So there's more of them around, and I'm guessing in a large number. We need to go.
Yes, we need to get Orm and get out of here.
Alright.
Now, you do have the option of trying to take the one that you have crippled prisoner.
Oh, I'm
That is
fine
what we're doing, yes.
So,
Should we take it prisoner?
Yes.
Alive?
Do we have the time for that?
Do we have rope?
if there's no polish on it, it won't come off with it now. I'm like, so go wash
Alright.
it and
And I'm gonna start hollering. Everyone
I'm going to tie the 2-foot draconic being up.
are you peeling the furs off of it to tie it up? Are you pulling the furs off of it to tie it up or leaving it in its furs?
I don't want it to freeze to death.
Do we wish to see it naked?
Yeah,
You
I'm
could
keeping
take
the
it in
furs
the
off.
tent. Because it's going to take a few minutes to get all the dogs into their harnesses, too. It heals the cut, and the dog seems very much happier, and it nuzzles you as a thank you.
No, it's not a spell, it's a skill check. He's like analyzing them.
It's been stabbed in the leg, you know, it's not a fatal stab, but it's definitely going to slow the dog down and make it a little harder for it to pull. Orin and the other driver are looking rather groggy because they were drinking like dwarves do before they went to bed.
Right, we may have a problem. We were attacked.
What attacked?
I point over to the kobold. And Heman says that it said that it was communicating with others of its kind. So there
It
might be
screamed
more.
out that we found it out to supposedly some more, and I'm guessing there's a lot more because it yelled really loud.
Orin is looking at this kobold with a distinct "what in the world" expression. A
It's
live
It's a
kobold?
kobold. Yes, and I killed like 4 of them.
Do you know how long it's been since people have seen these things?
That is why I captured it instead of leaving it there.
Thousands of years. I've studied fossils.
That's great, but we need to go.
Yes, existential crisis later, leaving now.
Where are we going to go? And how can we tell where we're going in this snow?
Anywhere
I
that is
have
not
light runes.
surrounded.
I can cast a light rune. We will be fine. All we need to do is get out of here before our entire camp gets hoarded and we all get stabbed to death.
Okay, okay. You can tell he's still not totally awake. He and the driver start getting the dogs into their packs. He says, "Are we leaving the sleds or are we taking the sleds?"
We should at least take like one or two.
Well, you guys only brought two of your sleds.
Oh, well then let's take at least one.
That's why there's only 14 dogs. You have two sleds. Now there are 3 wrecked sleds. In the debris field over there. They will still function as sleds, but everything that was strapped to them and the tie downs and things were destroyed.
Then perhaps we should go up.
Orin says,
Seems
you,
like the most logical course of action.
you mean climb or go up the trail?
The trail.
Okay. He and the driver are still putting the little packs on the individual dogs. Do you think we'll be safer in the cave?
Well, we will be in the snow.
It'll be easier to defend.
It'll be easier to see as long as I keep my light rune up.
Okay. They finish getting the dogs all harnessed. Who's taking that thing in custody? He points at the kobold.
I am.
It bares its teeth at you and growls.
I say shut up in Draconic.
It jerks, looking rather astonished that you can speak something.
Yes, I know your language. Can we move along now?
Well, it's not resisting you, but it's certainly making faces at you and giving you dirty looks.
I don't really care about the dirty looks. I just don't want it making any more noise so it doesn't alert so it alerts its friends. So we're going in the cave, right?
It's going to be a bit of a trek up the trail.
Yes.
Okay. Now, who's in front?
I'll be in front.
All right.
I will cast a light rune on the front of the sled so we know where we're going.
Well, the sleds themselves won't go up the switchbacks.
Oh.
That's why the dogs have all your supplies in packs on their backs.
So we're just gonna trek it?
That's your
Right,
option.
makes sense. Does anybody have, like, a dagger that I could use so we have some source of light?
I'm sitting in dagger.
All right.
I will cast a light rune on it and say, I'm not able to do anything else while this rune is active, so we need to hurry.
All right. It's gonna be a bit. It's kind of slippery, but you can get up the trail, and You realize about 50 feet up the trail, uh, somebody cleared the snow off this trail. It's accumulating again, but somebody had cleared it off.
I'm going to hand my crossbow to Keenan. My light bow.
Okay.
I'm supposed to. Here, you can use this while you're there. I have other plans.
Thank you. I'm going to try and concentrate as much as the light room as I possibly can, because it's probably going to get pretty dark in the cave. You guys may need to do the combat.
Okay. Probably.
Okay.
Unless we want to fight blind, and that's not something we should do.
All right. Whoever's in front, give me a spot check. Okay. You do not notice the small tripwire across the path.
Oh no.
You do notice the large pile of snow that just dropped on your head.
Uh,
It is very cold.
I have Endure Elements on.
It's still very cold.
Fair enough.
Nobody likes having snow down their shorts, and you have snow up to your butt around you now.
we don't want to have to exert any more room so I can warm us up again.
You tripped a trap.
Mm-hmm.
It would completely bury one of the critters you have one of captured.
I'm trying to raise the critter high so it doesn't suffocate.
It's not buried. It's
Oh.
just Shet who just got with snow.
I'm only like a foot taller than it.
So Shet is standing there buried in a heap of snow up to his waist.
It's a bit unfortunate. I'm gonna start clearing the path in the snow while trying to keep watch.
Alright.
Failing to keep watch.
Well, it takes you a few minutes, but you manage to extricate yourself from the snow pile. Now your lower half is thoroughly chilled, however. Not damaging, just you're cold. Logical response to being buried up your butt in snow.
Well, we just need to keep moving. Our bodies will heat us up as we get to the cave.
Alright.
Yes. I continue.
Alright. You get about to here roughly on the trail. I need another spot check from Shet.
Oh dear God.
Yeah, that's better.
It is better, which is why you don't actually break the tripwire when you step forward. You feel it against your foot, and you freeze.
Wait. There is a tripwire. I wanna
I
look.
swear to God, if we get buried in snow again, someone is going to explode.
Could I roll knowledge engineering to attempt to
Dismantle it? Yes. Yes. You look at the rope. You see it's strung from the edge of the path to your left. It goes up, and you realize it's a white cord tied to the single support strut holding what looks like another buttload of snow that would bury you butt deep again
No.
if you break the rope or
Just
kick
step
it.
over it.
I'm gonna could I carefully remove the tripwire so it doesn't destroy the pillar?
That would have to be a dex check. Since you're not a rogue and don't have disarm trap, but it's going to be a dex check.
That is exactly middle him.
Unfortunately, it's not quite high enough to prevent it from setting it off. However, since you let your friends know it's there, they move back enough that they are not buried butt deep in snow with you. It doesn't actually hurt you any, it's just colder than all get out and aggravating.
Watch for any of these support pillars. They might all be trapped.
Well, the little pillar that it broke literally was just holding up a shelf with a buttload of snow on it. It doesn't do anything to the path, it's just clearly a booby trap.
Suppose we continue. I want to keep watch for the support pillars.
Alright. That's still going to be a spot check. You miss the next one and get another buttload of snow dumped on your head.
I wonder when it's going to start being something other than snow.
Well, the snow isn't all white.
No.
Unfortunately.
Don't eat the yellow snow.
There's yellow snow, there's red snow.
Oh god.
Suppose we continue.
There's purple snow for some reason. Somebody dropped their grape juice box.
Spot check. Unfortunately, that is not high enough to catch it before it gets you.
God dang it.
Snow.
Bits of rotting meat and trash rain down on your head this time, along with the snow. It is absolutely disgusting.
I feel like somebody else should go up front.
Your captive, by the way, is snickering.
Couldn't I have been able to smell the rotting meat beforehand?
The wind is blowing up right now,
Fair enough.
so the scent is blown away from you.
Going to look at the snickering kobold and in Draconic go, I can turn you into ash. Stop laughing.
He just grins at you. It's not a very nice looking grin.
Why don't you talk back to me?
Now, to the rest of you, it sounds like they're talking in yipping, almost barks. But he looks at you, and says, "You'll get yours."
Swear to God, if anything worse happens, I'm just offing the captive. I say that in common.
Do not do that.
Then tell him to stop laughing at us.
Persuade.
It's getting me angry.
Then we can cut out its
going to wrap some rope around its mouth.
Alright, so you gag your captive.
Don't kobolds have elongated, have long, kind of draconic mouths?
Yes.
Okay. So it looks very different from a human.
Yeah, it looks like a little humanoid reptile. It has glowing red eyes.
Oh, and that's not magical?
Nope.
Oh, no, it must be what cats have. Or similar. Anyway, I suppose we should, continue?
Alright, you will need to do one more spot check.
Could I take a 10?
Yes, you can take a 10.
Okay. That's an 11.
Alright. You spot it before you set it off. So you spot it. I presume you stop.
Mm-hmm.
You could do another engineering check if you want. See if you can figure out what this one sets off. You've already had rotting meat and God knows what all kinds of trash dumped on your head, along with 3 loads of cold snow.
Ooh. 11.
You see, it goes across the path, and then you kind of lose track of where it goes.
Another trap. Just walk over.
Now, what do you do with the captive?
Just pick it up.
Are we finally away from everything?
So you pick the captive up and take him over the tripwire?
Yes.
Okay. So you have successfully dodged that. You have pretty much reached this large cavern entrance. It is a long way down. Now,
It's just about 2 o'clock.
Mhm.
It seems like a good point with our heroes staring over a long cavern.
you have a drop off a cliff behind you, a cavern before you, and warm air is actually coming out of the cavern.
Dun, dun,
I am-
dun.
I am halfway to the point that I'm going to push the captive off the mountain.
What will our heroes find deep in this mysterious warm cavern?
Yes, this
Find
was.
out next time
Will
on
the
Dragon Ball
captive
Z.
will the captive stop laughing at them? Will Heman kill them slowly and painfully? Find out next time on D&D.
Find out next time in Thereian. What will our heroes do?
Probably